Hello, everyone. This is Mel Raposo. I'm excited today. We are all Poly Sports Camp, guys. I don't know if you heard of it. If you haven't, check this out.
If you're a football guy and you are not here, you're missing out. Year 17 and we are going strong.
These kids are training year-round now, so you see a lot of kids with size and speed and great competition. When you start putting the teams together, you can see they just compete and they rally around each other, and that's fun to watch.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Speed it up. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Our first day, we had 228 college coaches on this field. Yeah, it was a record-breaking opportunity for our kids.
You're getting college coaches coaching a lot of the kids.
One snap, get out there and get something done, all right?
They've done a great job. They've got a lot of tradition here with the camp, and so they've got it well organized, and the college coaches really make it go.
Call me as a family.
You know, anybody who has the passion and the want to get instructed and to play football, learning our system the way we do it, the Polynesian way, hey, we welcome those guys here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Guys, if you're a football player, if you're a football parent, grandparent, auntie, uncle, and it's a joy to have a kid or a nephew playing football. And for us here in Hawaii, it's so hard for us to get our kids to these camps on the mainland because of the cost. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited today because we have a couple of guests here that are trying to make this happen here on Kauai with for our local kids. And I am just so honored to have Mr. Leonard Peters and Coach Ale Mateo, who basically is the founder and the guy that started this all. And gentlemen, I'm happy and blessed and honored to have you both here to share a little bit about the camp and what this camp can bring for our local kids here on Kauai. Not just Kauai, but some of the neighbor islands as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Coach Teo, I've heard of your name. I've heard of All Poly. But until we started having this discussion and me looking up and doing some research, God, you're a pretty awesome dude, man. You're a pretty awesome dude with a passion for our kids that at the level that I rarely see. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Coach, and share with us how All Poly Sparks came about. Give us a little bit about your background and who is Coach Ale Mateo?
So I was born in San Francisco, California. My parents migrated there in the 50s, and then we moved back to Samoa when I was in the 6th grade. I'm from a family of 17, nine brothers and 8 sisters, and just kind of grew up in a little village over there called Mesepa in American Samoa. And I went to school over there, went to high school, played football, had a love for the game. We didn't have a lot of resources back there on the island, and so we pretty much played with practically nothing at all, But that kind of carried over with me as I got older. As a member of the LDS Church, I ended up going on a mission, and after my mission, I had to decide on what I needed to do with my life. And so I knew this: I needed to go to college, and I wanted to play football. And so I ended up going to Snow College, where I walked on, and as a fullback. And then, after the first season, I never had to pay for college again. So I was pretty blessed to be able to use, the God-given talents that the Lord has given me to play this game to help get an education. From Snow College, I went on to Southern Utah, where I was recruited there to play another 2 years, got my bachelor's degree. And then, moving forward, I just wanted to get into coaching. Football's been such a great sport to me. I loved it. I wanted to be around it, and wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to continue to do so throughout my life. So I got into coaching, and shoot, 32 years later, here we are. But during that course of that time, when you talk about the birth of all poly sports, kind of happened off of a whim. I got invited to the state office here in Utah. We have a pretty good sized Polynesian community here, and the biggest concern was the graduation rate in Utah for Polynesian kids was around 47%. It was very, very low, and extremely concerning to our city, our local leaders in the community. And so I was one of two full-time educators and also coaches that were Polynesian. Me and another friend of mine, Marvin Magalay, we were the only two high school football coaches that were of Polynesian descent in the state of Utah back in the early 90s. And so we went to the meeting, and as everybody went around the table, we had a bunch of business guys there, construction, people of different backgrounds that they wanted to figure out how can we solve the problem. And so, I mean, when it got to me, I just told them, hey, I'm a football coach. I know this, that our kids are talented. Our kids have the ability to play this game at a high level. I would try to figure out a way to use football as a vehicle to push our athletes to get to college. And so that's kind of how it started. The funny thing is, right? I presented to them the data and everything that went along with running a camp like this, and in the end, they basically turned me down because they said it wasn't academic enough. And so, with that being said, instead of just walking away and letting it die there, kind of had a chip on my shoulder. So I figured, hey, we're going to run it anyway. We'll run it. I'm going to run it myself. And pretty much that's how it started. The first year, we only had about 36 kids there. Then it just kind of escalated. I brought in Polynesian coaches, Robert and I, Keith Uparesa, Brian Cabral, guys that I knew had a relationship with Tiasa Sopo, Steve Kaufusi. Those guys were early in their careers. And the only thing I could tell those guys was, hey, man, I can't pay any money, but I can guarantee you two things. You're going to see football players you're going to want to recruit, and I'll feed you good. And that's kind of how I got them in. And so from that point on, from that first year on, our staff numbers doubled. Our registration doubled and bigger, to a point where we've been fortunate enough to see, thousands of kids come through in front of college coaches and get recruited and off to get an education. So hopefully we can bring a similar effect to the beautiful island of Kauai to help the get noticed and get recognized by college guys and get recruited off the island.
Awesome. What a story. It's amazing how football provides, actually any athletic sport, gives our kids an opportunity to pursue education, and I'm so thankful that you didn't quit at the first no, and so many kids have gone through all poly and become very successful. Which brings me to Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters, you have participated with all poly with your son. Share a little bit about your experience with all poly and what got you to get us to this point where we're very close to bringing this opportunity here to our Kauai kids.
I'd like to lay the landscape out with my Polynesian heritage. I was born in American Samoa, lived in a village called Auasi, and my father passed away in Vietnam. He was one of the first Samoan casualties to come home from Vietnam. But my mom remarried in Samoa, the man that I call Dad, who raised me, and he joined the military as well. So I've been all over the world. Went to high school in Germany, played football for high school, and I saw the passion that my fellow athletes had for the game, and it teaches so much more than just football. Um, I like you said, I've got boys who played ball too, and we make the trek out to Utah and to attend the All Poly, and it's a wonderful experience. You have people there of the same heritage, promoting the game and promoting kids from Polynesia. What a way um, to exemplify, promoting the Polynesian kids than to bring the All Poly camp here to Hawaii. So I had met a guy there at the All Poly camp in Utah. He was wearing a Tamba hat, and he was a Hawaii guy. So I went up to him and asked him uh, if he was from Hawaii or from Kauai, and he said he came out to Kauai every now and then. His name is Skip Armando, and Skip's got a lot of energy. So when he sees something, he kind of just latches onto it and doesn't let it go. So they came out on vacation. He and his wife and his boys, who are also football players that have participated in the All Poly camp. They came out in February on vacation, and they asked if there would be an interest for the All Poly camp out here in Hawaii, particularly in Kauai, and I said, yeah, it would be something that we'd be very excited about, the opportunity to have that conduit here to promote our local athletes. And so I gave them all the contacts to connect with the people that are in the football programs and the leaders in the community. And they talked to them a little bit. They ended up wrapping up their vacation and going home. Then a couple of weeks later, I get a call from Coach Tail asking me again if there was an interest in having All Poly come out to Hawaii, and in particular Kauai. So I said, yeah, I could ask around and see what the temperature was for the interest, and it was hot. People were very excited to get here, to bring that camp here. And to include the other islands was even more exciting, because there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of talent here. This is a great conduit to get the kids here in Hawaii exposure. I've been learning a lot about the recruiting process, and I mean, the more exposure you get, the better. And this All Poly Sports platform is one of the top-notch programs out there. So this is a unique opportunity that we have to do this camp.
Yeah, awesome. And I was sharing with Coach earlier. In the past, my son, I had to take him over to California to get in some camps, and he participated in a couple of camps at a very high cost, because you got to get over there and you got to pay for the camp, and it's so expensive. But this is an opportunity that can actually provide our kids to stay right here, or if you're on another island, minimal travel costs, but to experience this experience. Now, Coach Teo, there's football camps, and I as I was researching All Poly, you guys, there is a scholastics or academic component to it, but your camps it's not just a fundamentals camp, it's truly a scouting camp, correct?
Absolutely. We run a college style format. We have college coaches that are coaching the kids so they get hands on with the athlete. And I tell the coaches, at the end of the camp, we try to pick the best players out there, and I said, pick the guys that you're going to recruit. And so that was kind of the philosophy behind it. If we're able to get kids together, bring in college coaches, let the college coaches get hands-on, work with these kids, and identify who they like, of getting kids recruited are going to be very, very high. Versus going to a showcase, there really aren't any college coaches there, and then you're hoping that your information gets put out there. But this way, hey, you get hands-on, you really get a feel for what the kid's all about, and you can get some questions answered right then and there. You know, what his measurables are like. How does he take tough coaching? What kind of athlete is he? Is he a tough football player? You can answer all those at our camp.
Um, one of our conference calls, you shared the realities about D1, D2, D3 junior colleges. There's a lot of kids out there that they want to go to D1. That's their vision. That's their goal. Great goal. But the reality, you shared some numbers that was quite interesting, and I love the way you put it out. And I think for parents that are watching, what does this camp do in the real world for our kids? That I remember at a USC camp, the coach at the time was Pete Carroll, and he told our kids, he goes, not every one of you will get a spot on the USC roster, but every single one of you that has the desire and passion to play football can get a spot on a college football roster if you choose to. And I thought that was profound, but you summed it up very well in our conference call. Could you share that a little bit?
Sure, I mean, the landscape of college recruiting has changed so much because of the portal. Right now there's over 6,000 college athletes in the portal trying to get a place to go to. Well, out of those 6,000 players in there, the high school guys are recruiting for the same spots. But the problem is colleges now have to recruit guys who are ready to play right now. There is no time to develop athletes. I help run the Polynesian Coaches Network, and we have a meeting every year at the American Football Coaches Association convention that's held in the East Coast most of the time. This last meeting, I met up with college recruiters, and when I say recruiters, it's the directors of recruiting, the general managers, from guys that are from the Southeast Conference, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Mountain West, and we sat down in a circle, and I posed a question. What's the direction of high school recruiting based on the new rules coming out with the college NIL stuff? And they all said that after this year, you're going to see a decline in offers because coaches are now pressed to recruit players who are in the portal because they are more prepared to play versus the high school athlete. And so right now, it's going to be less than 1% of high school football players will have a chance to play Division I football. Okay, and so what happens to the other 99? The other 99%, you got to go to Division II, Division III, and junior college in order to find your way back up. And so the term right now is called getting recruited up. And so if a Division I school doesn't have any room for you, they're going to encourage you to go to junior college or D2. And then if you ball out over there, they will pick you up in the portal. And so that's how the recruiting process is going right now. And so the reason why that's important for parents to understand is, when you take a player or your son to a Division I camp and nobody there knows who your son is, or you haven't been contacted by anybody in that school, you practically have no chance of getting looked at by that school, even though you're going to their camp. Because a lot of the camps now, they know who's coming, and they recruit the guys that they've contacted to come to the camp. So it's going to be real. You got to decide, man. Am I going to roll the dice and have a less than 1% chance to get looked at, or Can I go somewhere else like All Poly where there's multiple divisions, multiple coaches, and have a much better chance of getting recognized? So the cost and the price in that, you save a lot of money. You can go to a D1 camp, it costs you 400, $500, or you can come to All Poly camp up here in the mainland, and which is more than half, about a third of the cost. So parents are going to have to figure out how they want to manage their finances and where they want to send their kid, because you know they need to face the facts early. Well, if nobody sent my kid any information or has recruited my son as a junior, they're not coming.
So the moral of the story really is it's okay to go D2 or JC and use your ability to play up, to get recognized, and then get picked up potentially by a D1 school.
Absolutely, absolutely, because that's where they're looking now. And so you got to get on the field, go where you can play. And if and again, right, even if you get an offer to a Division 1 school, this is how much things have changed. You are not guaranteed that you will be there your entire career. In fact, they're estimating that the average player at the Division 1 level will transfer 2 times, you know, during their time in college. Now, keep in mind that it's a semester to semester deal now, so you can go in, and at the end of your first semester, you're going to get an evaluation. Then they're going to tell you there, hey, here's what you need to do to stay on the roster. And then the next semester, if you come back and your evaluation hasn't changed, they're going to tell you you need to jump in the portal because we're going to replace you with somebody from the portal. So, I mean, that's the harsh reality of college football today.
Hey, Mel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. As harsh as that sound, and it's definitely got more difficult for kids trying to get recruited out of high school. In this day and age where society awards kids that haven't even proven themselves, I think it's going to be a good thing for the game overall. You'll have more proven athletes coming out and competing at the next, as you recruit up. So,
Good point. I think we really gotta be real with our kids. I mean, these kids are young adults technically, and they need to know what's happening. The game of college football has changed dramatically with NIL and with the portal. It's just not the same as it used to be. So this camp really provides an opportunity because you have coaches from all levels, from all different schools, each school looking for different types of athletes. But all of these kids will be assessed, coach, and we'll wrap this up shortly. But give us for the parents that are watching, or for the kids that are the athletes that are watching. How does the camp typically run? What can an athlete, a football player, expect when they show up at an all poly camp? Let's say on Kauai, what can they expect?
Okay, the first session is going to be helmets only, where college coaches will take them through a lot of skill development drills and measure their athletic ability and kind of get an idea what our numbers look like. And on the during that same session, we're going to divide them up into teams, and then session 2, we'll come back and then we'll start doing some light contact, some one-on-one, some 7-on-7, and then we'll prep these guys for the scrimmage. Now, every kid who comes to our camp is going to have to learn the offense or the defense, depending on what position they play. And then the reason why we do that is coaches want to identify what kids have a high IQ, who can pick this up, who can handle the adjustments and stuff. And so they're gonna be asked to learn the scheme, and then the final session. Now it's a scrimmage. Now we're gonna scrimmage everybody in the camp, and they're gonna run the plays they were working on, and they're gonna get evaluated based on how well they execute the game plan they've been working on the previous 2 practices. So, I mean, it's condensed into one deal, and kids gonna have to think fast. But it definitely reveals where you're at as a high school football player, as a potential college recruit, and where the coaches believe you sit in terms of their recruiting process.
Yeah. So if you're an athlete and you're a senior, well, you got to be prepared. But for the younger kids coming in, the first year at all poly, they come in, they learn the system. They have an opportunity to come back next year, and hopefully in that time they've refined their skills and their ability to. Yeah, I remember when my son came home. He was a defensive player. When my son came home with the playbook from Kauai High School, I mean, I played football, but my God, the plays and the schemes that they had to learn and adjust to was tremendous. So these kids will have an opportunity to refine their skills, and at the following camp, the next year's camp, they get to show off what they've learned and ultimately showcase their talent in front of all these coaches. Incredible opportunity. Real quick, Mr. Peters, you have participated in these camps. Um,
Yeah.
what does your kids say as far as what they got out of this camp?
He loves the camp. That's one of it's his favorite camp to go to, because he's tested in a real world environment. And I'd like to point out to something that Al Poly does as well, if Coach Tail wouldn't mind expanding on it. But they give their top players an APR, athletic performance rating, I believe. And it's been neat because Ryan has had the opportunity, or my son has had the opportunity to receive those APRs, and he puts it. I see him putting it on his recruiting data, and from All Poly, that carries a lot of weight. So um, it's the real deal.
Awesome. Let's kind of focus now on Kauai, because we wanna have this opportunity for our Kauai kids. We have had numerous discussions on how we can get our kids out, and I think from what you've all heard today, especially if you're a parent or a coach, if you're a coach, start letting your kids know, let them know that this opportunity exists. I will post a link in the description of this video on where you can go to get more information or to register. But we have a pretty short window, and obviously, Coach Teo has to coordinate all of these coaches. We got to get coordinate all the travel and accommodations, and as well as getting some sponsorships. And of course, if you're willing to be a sponsor, a donor, or help us out and to lower the costs for our kids, uh, please feel free to reach out to me or Mr. Peters or anyone or on the website. But importance of our kids showing up at this camp for their future is important. Coach Teo, to the players right now watching, to the coaches right now watching, to the parents that are watching, what is your message? What is your message to them?
If your goal is to, play college football, then you really got to look at all of your options, where you're sitting at, and be real with your situation. Is somebody recruiting me? Do I have the measurables? Have been putting in the quality work that I need to? You've got to get a few questions answered within yourself. So I'd self-check, on your passion and your desire to want to make the move to the next level. And then, hopefully we get a chance to run the camp there. You know, regardless of what happens, you're going to be able to set the tone on where you want to go next. It'll reveal where you're at, and it'll help you set goals for the future. So, and just be smart. We'll do the best we can to identify the top athletes that are at the camp, and then we'll do a great job in pushing them out to the coaches in our database. That I can promise you that.
And more importantly, I think is for like I played football. I was never a stud, man. I was never, I played a lot of plays, but I was never a starter. But I had the passion and I worked hard. My trick was always to stand right next to the coach. So if somebody got injured and he needed somebody right away, I was right next to him. So I got to go in. Some of us don't have the God-given talent as others, but this is like a measuring scale. This is an opportunity that you will have a roadmap by the end of the camp of where you need to develop if you're not that all-star athlete. But you will have a roadmap. You will have the ability to change your course, change your practices, change your discipline. So the following year, you have an opportunity to showcase that talent. I think it's so important. Opportunity like this is so important. So I encourage everyone to consider this. Check out the website. Again, the link is in the description. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to All Poly through their website, or you can always send Mr. Peters or myself if you're on Kauai. Give us a buzz, and we'll definitely help you along the way. I really appreciate this time. I don't want to make this video too long, but I did want to give you guys both an opportunity to make some final comments. We'll start with you, Mr. Peters. Any closing thoughts?
But the phrase "it takes a village," right? And I appreciate the support that you've given us, Mel, through this venture. We had a short time frame to put it all together, but it's going to take all of us to pull together to make this happen. It's a great opportunity for our keiki.
Yeah, and I want to personally thank you, Leonard, for your amazing perseverance and the motivation for all of us to help make this happen. Want to make this happen. We can't make it happen without the kids and their parents. So, folks, please click the link in the description. And Coach Teo, again, man, I'm so honored to even get to know you, brother.
Thank you. Hey, you know what? This is a great opportunity for your kids in Kauai, and I would encourage you guys to, to come on out. There's no question. There's a lot of great athletes on that island that haven't been exposed yet, and we want to be the organization that helps push them out there and get kids to the next level. Bet on yourself. Believe in yourself. So you don't have to travel all over the country to get what you want. We're coming to you. So hopefully we can get it all worked out. And thank you for the opportunity for having this. And Leonard, Brent, thanks again. You've been honest on everybody about this, and hopefully we can make this thing happen. All right. Appreciate the time.
All right, folks. Again, guys, the link in the description. Check it out. Again, you have any questions, we appreciate the both of you and all of the volunteers that are trying to make this happen for Kauai. And let's not let this opportunity slip away, guys. Let's not let this opportunity slip away. I hope to see you all there at the camp. I'll be there. I'll be a spectator. I'll be a water boy. I'll do whatever I can. It's all about our kids. We know that. Let's give our kids a chance of success. And all poly sports is truly an opportunity for us to do it. So until the next time, folks, you guys take care. God bless. We love you all. Aloha.
Aloha.